Hari Om. So, from talks with Ramana, as also Guru Vachak Kovai, to surmise why did the world appearance come into being? What's the reason? It's due to inadvertence. Inadvertence is what? A lack of self-attention. Self means the capital S. Who are you? You're the substratum. You're the screen. You're not the movie. You're not the characters of the movie. You're the substratum at all times, whether you can relate to that or not. You get carried away by emotions. Sometimes you feel it's obvious that I have to relate to this part of the movie. All what you're proving is your inability to hold on to the self. It is not easy to hold on to the truth. In a classroom, there are 5% students who can listen to the teacher, meaning pay attention to the teacher 100%. Rest 95% have ADD, attention deficit disorder. Sparrow comes, they turn their neck around. Crow comes, they look at the crow. Car honks, their attention is diverted. The student who comes first in the class, let a building fall down, his attention is not going to get diverted. He hears a drum right across the street. Well, he'll say, let the teacher finish that topic, and then I'll peep outside. Oh, the building fell off, okay. That's an insignificant occurrence to him. He knows his primary duty as also all what he needs to do, whole and soul, is listen to the teacher. Similarly, who's a sadhak, who's a real sadhak? One who knows that his duty is to hold on to the self. Ramana's number one disciple was Mastan Swami. His statement is, let cinders be poured on your head. One should not allow the life in Atma to get disturbed. And he did that. He used to come to Ramanashram and just touching the gates, he used to pass into Samadhi for 8 hours, rain or shine. Some people used to think, well, he's pretending. He was not. He passed away at an early age, and Ramana said, well, we are going to build a Shaiva Siddha Samadhi for him. And he built that Samadhi for 3 people. His mom, Lakshmi the cow, and third person was Mastan Swami. Some people were surprised. Mastan Swami? Well, yes. Someone who can instantly pass into Samadhi by touching the gates, is he not a Siddha? Is he not a yogi? Is he not a jnani? Is he not a bhakta? Are these different things? No, they are one and the same. A man who's qualified holds on to the self. Rest don't even have the faintest idea what it means to hold on to the self. And holding on to the self is what liberates you. Savidya vimukte. Vid is a very comprehensive understanding of your real nature, which is yourself. Understanding means it's not intellectual. A very small fragment of that understanding, you could term it as intellectual for lack of a better word. With is clarity, crystal clear clarity of your real nature. That is what liberates you. That itself is mukti. With corresponds to vimukti. It's not that first with comes and then vimukti comes after 7 years. No, with is vimukti. Ramakrishna said he used to have vision, yogic vision, where once he removed the moss and then he took the waters in the hand, crystal clear water. Quite interestingly, Ramdas Swami, who was Shivaji Maharaj's guru, he had the exact same vision. He has mentioned in Dasabodh, Gondar Sanduni Nira Sevije. Nira Sanduni Kshira Sevije. So Gondar is that moss, the green. So you remove it and take the water in your hand, and then with the force of discrimination, viveka, separate the milk from the water. Ramana said, what is seeing Atma? It's like one clear mirror seeing its reflection in another clear mirror. There is nothing to see, and yet you see. That's seeing without seeing, the clarity. That will liberate you. Not intellectual arguments, not rituals, not karmas. In the ultimate analysis, are you mature enough to understand that? Or you're still a playful kid? I want to do this, I want to do that. Then liberation is not for you. Spiritualism, some say, is a journey. If you say it's a journey, of course it's a journey. If you can sense the destination and stay with the destination, then it's not a journey. A mind that craves for experience is an immature mind. It doesn't matter what type and quality of that experience he wishes for. It's just not paripakwa. It's immature. It's tottering. It's changing. And anything that is changing is unfit for the final goal. If that describes you, so be it. Jnaneshwar Maharaj said, Joze vanchila to telaho. You'll get what you want. You are what your beliefs are. You cannot go beyond them. And you're forced to do justice to them. A sign of grace is that you stop being stiff, that you become open. You open your heart to that what is right. Grace is there every moment. Grace is there every inch, every atom of this universe. Are you open to it? When mind attains that purity, it becomes susceptible to that grace. It receives it. Then it does not require any further instruction. Until then, it argues. It intellectualizes a process which need not be intellectualized. It takes great pride in intellectualizing a thing. which is obvious. If you start arguing about the particulars, it's an endless task. Essence is, most of the time, very short, very sweet, very direct, very near. Particulars are not, they confuse you, they contradict each other. And a mind that is not backward takes great interest, has a great taste of indulging in particulars. It has no clue, it has no interest in holding on to the essence. It knows it is not the essence, yet it's a habit. It's a habit for many thousands of lives. It cannot give up. If a man has sin in the heart, it doesn't allow him to catch the essence, to catch and stay with the goal. He longs for a meandering path with flowers and differentiation. He cannot see the underlying reality. He cannot hold on to the substratum. It takes extraordinary sattva, not just punya, but extraordinary sattva to hold on to the self. That power is called self-attention. That power is called Atmanusandhanam. Atma Anusandhan. Anusandhan is a bridge from who you think you are to reaching who you actually are. And when you reach who you actually are, you burn the bridges. Just like the Russians did to the Germans. It's called scorched earth policy in the Second World War. Okay, defeat is staring in our eyes. So what we're going to do is, we are going to burn bridges. We are going to retreat, we are going to run away, but before that, we'll destroy the bridges so they won't catch us. We'll destroy the crops so they won't have food to eat. We'll empty the water tanks so they won't have water to drink, and then how will they chase us? Atmanusandhanam, that yogi who has given up the thirst for a world which is nothing but a ball of fire. Vairagya, mumukshutva is that clear understanding that anything that is temporary, anything that is anatma, is nothing but a ball of fire, is nothing but extreme pain, extreme suffering. There's no need to describe that suffering. It's a useless activity. It's futile. Pain is pain is pain. Suffering is suffering is suffering. A loser is a loser is a loser. That understanding, that spirit will develop itself is a higher form of vairagya. Vairagya means viraga, vishesha, raga. An understanding, a solidity in that understanding. That anything besides Atma is going to give me untold suffering, excruciating pain. Being alive every moment to that truth is virag. Virag doesn't mean you dress yourself in a funny way, have jatas and look like a fool, smear ashes. That's what you see on television. And that's why you think, oh, that has to be a Vairagi. We are stereotyped. This color associates with that. This jata associates with that. Come to the essence. Many thousands of lives you have been attracted to the external. Turn within. Hold on to the truth. It's not a secret. Start with Shravan. Shankaracharya said, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyas, Samadhi. Shravan is mandatory. Shravan is right understanding. That understanding that liberates you is Shravan. Shravan is listening. Listening means just not hearing, although literally it might mean hearing. Listening is putting into practice. Shankaracharya says there is no world, there is no entity. Well, right away, you shouldn't have big plans for a world which doesn't exist, to do things in a world which doesn't exist. And where you are not there, what plans do you have for yourself? I want to go here, I want to go there. For what? So you're incapable of doing Shravan. The rest of the things are not going to follow. You're not going to be able to do Manan, Nitidya, Samadhi. These things are far off. Just like a beggar who cannot expect to sit in a private jet. A person who is incapable of doing Shravan, for him, rest of the things, it's like trying to build a house on the moon. It's never going to happen. Shravan is right understanding that comes with right effort. Samyak Jnana, Samyak Prayatna, Samyak Drishti, said Buddha. Samyak, the right. You don't need to do anything extra. You don't need to do anything extraordinary. Atma is simple. It is simpler than the simplest. The trick is you'll know how it is simple if you become simple. If you are complicated, you never reach Atma. Just like a person who has the habit of overthinking, he cannot see simple truths. Everyone else can see, he cannot. And that is our problem. Kathopanishad says, Atma is nearer than the nearest, simpler than the simplest. And Swami gave commentary. He said, our heart is very far to us compared to Atma. Atma is 1,000,000 times nearer to us than our heart. Even to make tea, you need some intelligence, you need some efforts. But reaching Atma requires no effort because you're already it. Atma, andar ka main, Atma. Atma is that which includes everything. Yoga Vasishta says, the entire universe is contained in a grain of a mustard seed. But when vid happens, when reality is known, it's very, very, very clearly understood that nothing exists in that mustard seed. And that is Jnana. That is Atma-Jnana. That alone is Atma-Jnana. Rest is time pass. Rest is distraction. It doesn't matter how you pour your intelligence through many different channels and charm people and even yourself and brings even tears to your eyes that, oh, I'm such a sincere student. You're wasting your time. If you're not holding on to the self, you're wasting your time. Know that well. So Ramana's method is self-inquiry, to find out where I step down to the stupidity of paying attention to a world which does not exist. World is second and third person. First person is the ego I, the entity I. Shankaracharya says world doesn't exist and that entity doesn't exist. So second, third person doesn't exist. First person also does not exist. Then what do I do to it? I do swaha to all those three people. It is possible if I have spiritual maturity, not otherwise. Then what happens? Well, everything is given up. All what I gave up was only Brahma, was only illusion. It was Avaran and Vikshep, that's all what I gave up. I gave up that which was worth giving up, which was imperative to give up. What I did is I cleared off all the pictures on the blackboard. So now nothing remains, right? Yes, nothing remains on the blackboard. And now the blackboard is clearly visible. I know that blackboard is me. The second, third, and the first person have given away to the real self. I rest as I. I rest as aham, without the iti, without the idam. That idam, Yoga Vasishtha says, that idam itself is samsara. And having the ability to hold on to the aham without the idam is sar. So who do you want to become, a sari or a samsari? Samsari is burden. Samsari is a futile chase to try to reach a fragment of the bliss which you call pleasure. It's stupid. Have you come to that realization? If not, read Upanishads. After 100 books, you'll come to the same realization. If you're smart, if you're wise, if you have wisdom, don't associate wisdom with intellectual or IQ. It has got nothing to do with it, absolutely. That clarity, that purity, that force, that atmiyata, that automatically, wholeheartedly, instinctively, intuitively urges you to hold on to the self. That is wisdom, which tells you anything besides that is futile. In Narad Bhakti Sutra, it is called Anuraga. 46 to 50, it gives you 11 points. Kastarati Maya, how to cross Maya. And after giving you the first 10 points, the 11th point, it says, Avichinna Anuraga Labate. Avichinna is uninterrupted. Anurag is that force when a dam breaks, how the water gushes from the pores with intense force. That is that anurag that you develop towards Shiva, towards Atma, towards Brahma, towards God, towards Vittal. Towards yourself, Ishwar Guru Atmeti. An immature person thinks Ishwar is outside. A mature person knows he emerges in the form of Guru, physical or otherwise. And a very mature spiritual disciple knows that it is me, Atma. Krishna is not without, he is not even within, he is with. I am that. I am. Aham. Noiti. I'm mature enough to realize aham and be one with it. That is Atmanusandhanam. That is what self-inquiry takes you to. I inquire about the stupidity. Why I stepped down? Why did I choose distortion of an image? Why I attributed so many things to the screen? Screen had nothing to do with the movie. The blackboard had nothing to do with the pictures on it. I have nothing to do with all the incarnations I took. I was a bird, I was a lion, I was a thief, I was a king, I was a rich man, a poor man, a generous man, an intelligent man. They were waves. They were waves, they were taranga. They took different ranga, but the anga remained forever. Crystal clear, pure, never got tainted. That understanding, nothing ever came into existence, is a supreme understanding. It's called Ajatavad. If you want reference, in Mandukya Karika, 3rd chapter, point 48, which is also repeated in chapter 4, point 71. It says, there is no jiva, short, sweet, and simple. Why is there no jiva? Because there appears to be no reason for it to come into existence. If you understand these words, if you can accept it, move on. You don't need to read tens of texts. If you want to convince yourself how there is no jiva, well, read them. Shastra vasana is also a vasana. Know that. Uttishtati. Wake yourself up. From pretending that you're dreaming. There is no dream. There are no three states. There's only Turiya. There is no Triputi. There is only the one. There is no differentiation. There is no fragmentation. Having that confirmation of the conviction is nyasa. That is sannyas. Uttam nyasi is sannyasi. I understand. I'm absolutely confirmed in the understanding that only one exists, only Atma exists. And that Atma is me. That Atma is Guru. That Atma is Ishwar. Ishwar Guru Ratmeti is Ishwar is equal to Guru is equal to Atma. Pani is equal to water is equal to Jal. That firm understanding is Uttam Nyasa. Rest will make you wander in the forest of Shastra. Rest will make you seek different pathies, like you have allopathy, homeopathy, and all those pathies will still make you suffer. Pathos is suffering. Eat the madhura rasa. If you're not reaching bliss, you're reaching somewhere else. You're not reaching Atma. Atma is bliss. Satchit Anand. It's not poetry. This is what the Jnanis, the one who went yonder, they wrote for us to understand. How birds, I was feeding ducks once. I was feeding them berries. What they do is the first second they take in their beak and they have just a little of the juice. If it's sweet, they eat it. If it's not sweet, they throw it. This is how a Viveki should be. Am I reaching bliss? No, then reject it. And I'm not reaching Atma. I'm reaching Anatma. I'm reaching that which is transient. Dukkham, dukkham, sarvam dukkham. Kshanikam, kshanikam, sarvam kshanikam. Anityam, anityam, sarvam anityam. What is kshanika? What is anitya? What is momentary? What is transient is obviously dukkhaspad, is what Buddha wrote. Do you want to challenge him? How dare you? See, Buddha is not, he was a different religion. A jnani is a Buddha. Buddha is equal to Ramana, is equal to Ramakrishna. Yes, is equal to Shankaracharya. Now you'll say, read history. Shankaracharya challenged Buddha. Well, that's we are not playing, some different games. That could be true with a certain reference. Do you understand the essence? Do you have the ability to hold on to the essence? Of course, you'll see the variety. Do you see the underlying unity? Kathopanishad has given 3 warnings. Number one, if you die without knowing Atma, you'll go from death to death. Death to death is you'll go to hell, which means suffering. Second warning, if you see multiplicity, not the underlying unity, you shall go from death to death. Third, if you see the slightest difference, you shall go from death to death. These are not my grandpa's words or your grandpa's words. This is right from the horse's mouth. This is Upanishad. Some rishi has written it. He said this is a conversation between Yama and Nachiket. Now, either you can say, oh, what's the validity? Where did that happen? Let me go. Let me check references. Or you understand in a sense and you realize what is to be done. And the experience of many yogis and jnanis will tell you what is fruitful is hold on to the self. What is fruitful is know Atma, because that will liberate you. If you do not know Atma, for sure, you'll go through excruciating pain. A man is desperate to take birth. Why? It's easy. You have a sheath that protects you from excruciating pain. Once that sheath is gone, there's only pain. There are descriptions of hell in almost each and every religion. You think they're poetic? That's how it is. To awaken yourself before the imperative happens, before you get roasted in a ball of fire, before you get barbecued. How does your mind even get distracted to things that are transient, to things that do not exist? It's just an appearance. How many times are you going to read that in the Upanishads? And how many times do you say, oh no, my mind failed to create an impression of that truth? And still the vasanas are drawing me towards taking part in that entertainment. Self-inquiry is for a very mature disciple. Atmanusandhanam is an obvious conclusion that happens to a mumukshatva. To a mumukshu who has mumukshatva. For rest, it can be a very long path that can last many hundreds of thousands of lives. Krishna said to Arjuna, don't tell Gita to one who's not interested. Upanishads also say the same thing. Don't tell I am Brahma to one who's not ready. But to one who's ready, tell him by all means. Give him all the references. Provide him with all the help. Let the Krishna in you awaken you and give you the nectar of truth. Hari Om. That's it.